nights, and I thought she was a story as well.
Well, maybe she's bronze.
She is a story as well.
Do my homework.
Oh, Scotty's back. Scotty, did you vote?
Yeah, I just came to
How do you feel? Do you feel relieved?
I feel pretty good. I forgot there's other things to vote for, too. So I did write my name, since it's ranked choice, I wrote my name in for Manhattan Borough President, because why not? I'm not going to win. But I ranked myself, I think.
You never know.
Yeah, so... but yeah, it went well. I did talk to the poll workers. They said it was definitely really busy in the morning, like manageable. It wasn't like crazy, but they said it was definitely much higher turnout than past
So were you voting in a school? Where were you voting? What was the building?
Yeah, the school.
It was a school, okay.
Yep, it was nice and air conditioned. But yeah, it went well. One of the poll workers said it was busier than the presidential election, which I thought was interesting. I don't know if, that's just one opinion. But they said it was quite busy.
Primary or the... She didn't say.
No. The general. Mm-hmm.
So, Scotty, do they serve beverages at your polling place?
No, but usually what happens is that the school will run like a bake sale or something, and then they'll capitalize off of that. And I was surprised they didn't do that today. I think it's too hot or whatever.
It's a good marketing opportunity, I would think.
I was very smart. Yeah, but it went well. I'm happy with my choices, and I don't know. Did you see the interview with Stephen Colbert, Brad Pinder, and Zoran?
Yeah,
very good.
Yeah, just talked about it before you popped in.
But yeah,
were you impressed?
Yeah, I was actually pretty impressed. But regardless, I voted Adrian Adams, my one, Landers, my two, and someday I'll disclose. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But
we're being cagey. We're being private about our votes here.
I mean, I'm more annoyed than anything that we have, people on the left who are like, there's nobody good. It's, Mamdani or nobody else, or the city's ruined and the Democratic Party's ruined. Mind you, there are good people running, in people who can do the job, whether you like them because they don't have the moxie or they don't, they look schlubby or whatever. Scott Stringer, Brad Landers, city comptrollers, they know how the levers of the city. Adrian Adams being Speaker of the City Council.
Stringer was the borough president.
And he was a borough president. I'm just saying there are people out there who are good, and the way they get overshadowed in our new political culture with the TikTok candidates and all that, it makes me really upset. And that would be fine if it wasn't for so many people on the left who are like, how dare you not vote for him or not rank him? And I understand the contempt for Cuomo. That's a given. But the fact that it's the Bernie or bust crowd is annoying the fuck out of me with Mamdani, because it's like if they literally have said, New York is done if they don't elect him, and the party's done. And people outside of the city have so many opinions about this guy, but we never can talk about, experience as a thing that matters in running New York City. Like knowing he's not even in the city government, he's in the state government. It's very different. And the plans that he's putting up require state government approval. It has to pass Albany. And there's a lot of shit that is just, free giveaways and sound nice, and in spirit, I like it. But to get it done, I think, selling this to the voters, it's a little dishonest. That said, he has mobilized so many people. People are excited about him. He should be studied, his candidacy, for how effective young leaders can be for the Democratic Party, and how they can hit a message that resonates with young people and get them excited again. So there's a lot of things going on.
There you go. Thanks for the report from the ground. Scotty. All right. Are we ready to talk about Iran, as they say? I haven't even looked at the paper this morning. Was there anything new
There's some
going on?
speculation that maybe they've each taken their strikes and hopefully it's over.
Yeah.
And President Trump said fuck, and it's on the front page of the New York Times.
And that he's not taking his meds.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Basically,
really amazing.
dumb fucks.
Yes, exactly. It's like, it's totally out of control. Basically, he thought they violated the ceasefire, but what they did was they all took their shots right before it began.
Yeah.
And he was disappointed in them.
Well,
he called
he's the king of the world, and whatever he says, they have to follow, and he's amazed when they don't. It's it is so entertaining to have an 8-year-old as your dear leader. It's astounding how much I don't know where you can create something like this that is so stupid, so mean, so stupid, so uninformed, so uninteresting, so uninterested. He is the worst person in the world. He is. I'll tell you, sitting out here outside the United States, I will tell you, at least in Europe, he is the single most hated man in the world, and he is the single most hated man in America. I mean, 51% of the people voted for somebody else other than him, so that tells you something. I don't know how you can hate him even more. He's really testing our capabilities.
And you realize it's mathematically impossible, even with not getting a polarity vote, to get elected president when you're the most hated man in the world. Obviously, he's got fans somewhere.
Well, no, he does. He has potentially the 49% of the voting population, but I don't think so. I just think that, and this is all based on opinion, not about specific data. But I would say that the vast majority of Democrats do hate him, and I don't know other politicians like that. I don't think Biden. I don't think the vast majority of the Republicans hate Biden. They don't want to vote for him. They don't agree with his politics, but they don't hate him. I don't think anybody. There's not one person in the United States where more people hate than Donald Trump. I would say that that's accurate. Everybody I know hates him. There's no in between. There's no I don't like what he does, but he's an okay guy. That's not him. That's not him. His followers, many of them are, well, I think he's better for the economy. I don't like the guy. I don't agree with the way he is. I don't like his personality, but it's better for me. There are a lot of those. And they don't hate him. I mean, there are some people who are, I hate him, but he's going to make me rich. There are some of those. But the vast majority of Democrats that I know and independents that I know that I hang out with hate him. There's no question.
It sounds like Cuomo. I mean, it sounds like the New York Cuomo thing. They don't like him, but. And then there's a thing. Yeah. And in this case, it's like, I don't know, city managerial capacity.
Yeah, but even Cuomo, how many people, I don't necessarily like Cuomo, but I don't hate him. It's like nobody hates him. I mean,
there are a lot of women that are not.
Yeah, there are at least 13 women who hate him.
But I just want to ask you and Ken or anyone else very quickly, which is that I think that Trump, since the numbers matter so much, why don't we ever call out the fact that his victory really came down to, I think it's like 537,000 votes, which is a lot smaller number than the 2 million or whatever they're saying more in the popular vote. Because that's the number, I think, in the swing states, according to some reporting from BBC and others, that the numbers by which he won are even smaller. like to take heart in that. And again, it comes all down to the swing states. Did anyone see that reporting? That it's really only 537,000. I feel like Eric Foster. 537,000 votes in the swing state.
It was less than that.
Yeah, I see that reporting, and I've also heard his response to that reporting, and I've heard a lot of Republicans respond to it as, that's bullshit.
Oh, of course they do.
So, you know, I don't hate Trump.
I don't hate him.
I think he's really a problem as a person. I really do think he has a mental defect. I've never analyzed him. I don't know anybody who has.
Is there anybody that in public life that you hate more than Donald Trump?
I don't hate him.
Right? No, that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking in comparison. Is there any? The fact that look, I've known you for a number of years. I don't think you hate anybody, but I'm just saying that. Do you hate any other public figure more than Donald Trump?
No, but I would say I find the Congress that is currently in office as despicable.
Okay.
As Donald Trump.
All right, be real, Rick. Where do you get your trigger?
Because they're not doing anything to stop him. Those are the Republicans in Congress.
All right.
There's a couple that talk about it, but without them, he has not the power to do what he does. And so I don't ever look to anybody is going to save us. Any one person is going to save us, or that any one person can destroy us. It takes a big team. And that's why, I think Trump is really a bad president. Probably the worst in my lifetime. But we've had really, really horrible presidents before him.
James Buchanan comes to mind for me.
They have this. They have this organization of leading historians, academic historians, and from think tanks, and it's a very well established, and it's a credentialed organization. It is the credentialed organization for historians, and they do a poll of presidents every year. And Trump has always been either the worst or the second worst, always. But at the same time, I think Obama was either somewhere between 14 and 8. He's above 20. Clinton was above 20. I think even Bush the first was, I think he was down in the 30s. But Obama looked good, and so did Clinton. And Biden didn't look bad. I think Biden was in the top 20. So if you look from the historian's viewpoint over the years, and I think they've been doing this since the early 80s, it's very consistent. And they also grade them according to specific things. And Trump's always the bottom, which, that tells you a lot.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, you're talking about historians here. Now, historians are looking back on things, and there's a lot of stuff we don't know that's going to happen in this second term. Now,
oh yeah, and I don't think
Project 2025.
It's hard to do a historical perspective on that. We can do speculation, and we can do, I think this is going to happen.
Well, yeah, and just so you know, they do regroup them every year. So as history changes and new facts come out, they do go up and down the scale.
Yeah, but somebody who loves history, the question I have is, what percentage of the American historical community dealing with presidents do they make up? Because I'm asking because I've always been under the impression that the vast majority of historians in the United States who got doctorates in U.S. history rank Buchanan continuously near the worst president.
Yeah, I've heard that as well.
And Buchanan's because
Buchanan and Polk.
Polk because of the war, Buchanan because he ushered in the Civil War probably 10 years ahead of schedule. This is what I have read. But that would be my question. Like, what percentage of these historians today make up in the overall presidential historian community? That's probably a good way to see where some of the consensus in the community falls. Because as I'm sure most people are aware, history does operate off consensus in that fashion. If most historians agree, that tends to be doctrinal is not the right word, but it tends to be what most people go with.
Yeah, well, look, I know that you have very credible background in history, and I always take your historical opinions very seriously because you know more than me. And I'm sure you've seen these lists, right? Have you seen the list of presidents that they publish every year?
Definitely. When I was at A&M, the Bush School used to publish a list every year. The Center for Presidential History at the Bush School.
Yep. And so coming from your background, would you say that that's they have credible credentials in order to put out a list like that?
Oh yeah. No. Don't. I guess my question is more about historiography than anything else, like how we tell the story. Yeah. But no, that's, you go get your doctorate and you're fairly in the main line, right? Like, simply because historians would disagree that Buchanan would, quote, be the worst president of American history doesn't mean the history community.
And they don't all have the
we don't excommunicate the people who have differing views. Now, I will give you one place they do excommunicate you. You start falling down the Knights Templar rabbit hole, no one in the historical field takes you seriously.
Okay. All right, I want to get to Mercy. Mercy is our resident libertarian, so I wanted to get her. What's your feelings about all of this? You got the floor.
I hate Donald Trump so much, and I always have. And I'm not alone either. There are those of us in the party that were truly deeply hurt and offended at the leadership that invited him to their convention and tried to give him a lifetime membership. And we fully know and have proven now that they were GOP operatives to come in and do that because that's what they do. It just, everything he does is against libertarian principles. We're anti-war. And it does depend on the flavor of libertarian you speak to. I've found out in my travels that Nebraskan libertarians are just our own. We are libertarians. We are special, I guess. And that again is because of our state governance type and how we do things here. It's very libertarian in nature. I mean, our state is mostly independent anyway, and I'm very close to actually changing back for real, just for a break from party politics. So with what he's doing and everything that's going on, I need to mention that I'm only 34. So everything.
You're a baby.
Yeah, I'm a baby. Yeah, my whole life has been nothing but bombing the Middle East, right? I still have friends from high school because I tried to enlist in high school, but I had asthma, and the Air Force didn't want me. Wah wah. So, but all my friends got enlisted, and they're still enlisted. And so seeing what happened then, happening now again, and we're not buying the weapons of mass destruction argument. And just, it feels like every 20 minutes, about on average, there's new breaking news coming in about this situation. And it's just very exhausting. I hate Donald Trump. I'm glad our new leadership took away his lifetime membership and are denouncing him out loud. And certain factions are remaining who they are because they're going to get what they deserve, right? And it's just, you know, I appreciate Trump's comment today and dropping the F-bomb. It's probably the realest thing he's ever said, but I just, as I was then, I am now. Who the hell has the blackmail on him that's controlling his strings to make him do and say and help progress what they're doing? Will we ever know? I don't know, especially from a historical standpoint. I liked that discussion and how the ranking of the presidents are. And I agree with Rick. We really don't know how bad this is going to be. We can't really put Trump's presidency into historical perspective yet. But I do believe that his first term is already being mirrored. They just picked up right where they left off. They escalated it again. We are hearing reports now of sterilization practices happening in ICE detainment centers for females again. That already happened last time. It's happening again. We knew it would. I did see news that they are going to move ICE agents into counterterrorism. Just saw that. Yeah. This sucks. I hate it. I would like to know who's actually in charge here. And fuck Donald Trump. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you,
I
Martha.
share your beliefs. You know what? I've just decided I must be a libertarian. No, I can't be a libertarian because the libertarians invited Donald Trump to be their lifelong member. So I guess, Mercy, that I am still an independent.
Well, and we did take away his lifetime membership recently. Our new national chair, Stephen Nicola, he's doing a really good job at rolling back everything the last libertarian regime did. That's why I'm still holding on to hope, because like my state party, solid. Arizona state party, haven't been in a while. But I recommend being an independent right now. Don't buy into the party politics.
I haven't in years.
Yeah.
You are consistent.
Dr. Francine.
Yeah, you are consistent. All right, we are into closing comment and pearls of wisdom, and we have yet to hear from Elle and David Jacobson. So, Elle, why don't you give us what you've been thinking about this morning, or any closing thoughts, pearls of wisdom? Elle? Elle's not home. She ran away. Okay, David Jacobson, closing thoughts, pearls of wisdom. David Jacobson, anybody home? Knock, knock. Anybody home?
Yes, you just have to give us a minute if we're not talking all the time. This fire hose, remember the big, awful, horrible cut aid bill. No one's talking about it anymore. Notice the effect that this other thing or several other things are becoming so much more important, that the civil war that he's about to start, the real conditions of it are starting with the cruelty upon Americans.
Yeah.
Sterilizing women in ICE detainment is one that I had not known. And that just drives me insane.
Yeah, I don't know. I never imagined, even 6 months ago that any of this was possible. And we're seeing it.
We have 4 tech CEOs that are lieutenant commanders.
Yeah, I brought that.
How is that not 1930s replaying itself, guys?
In cybersecurity, or what were their positions?
Well, they're all in part of this Doge effort to be, look, for years we were talking about,
to modernize the government.
Surveillance capitalism. No, you're falling for the wrong thing. To modernize, that's the veneer. It's the same thing we bitched about the surveillance state in China. We just had the surveillance capitalism marry itself with our military.
Yeah.
And Doge stole all the records. So everything you feared about China being worse already happened here.
Yeah. And they did it in like 6 weeks. Yeah, it's amazing.
So some
Okay,
stuff's
well-
getting pushed out of the bill. I put the link in the chat because it didn't pass the Byrd Act.
What about
Yeah,
the
this
bird
is
bath?
the stuff that the libertarians should be shouting, and I'm sure they are. Should be yelling and screaming and jumping up and down.
We are. We're going crazy over here. Thoughts
Yeah.
and prayers.
Thank you. All right, Marshall, closing comment, pearls of wisdom. Marshall, nobody wants to do closing comments today.
I'm here. Picked up a new book called Persia and Rome in light of the issues in the Middle East and our founding fathers' contemporary antiquarian training. If it was Madison or Hamilton, they were classically schooled in Greece and Rome. If it was someone like Washington absorbed an understanding of the Roman Republic out of Shakespeare's plays as one of them. Thomas Ricks does a really good book that chronicles
I remember.
Yeah, it's called First Principles. And so, in light of those two things, it seemed like it would be an interesting book to read. So, that's my new book.
I like it. Yeah, I remember listening to Thomas Ricks a couple of times. He's an interesting guy, very knowledgeable. Okay, so we are at Stephen. Closing comments, pearls of wisdom.
Pass.
Passing to Dr. Francine. Closing comment, pearls of wisdom.
Are you kidding?
Make something up. You're creative.
No, but I've talked a lot this morning. I'm really depressed.
Uh-oh. All right, we have to cheer Dr. Francine up. Scotty, can you cheer Dr. Francine up?
No.
Sorry, Dr. Francine.
No, I will say this. If there's any bright spot, at least in the mayoral thing, is what I had brought up before.
Yeah.
Was the cross endorsement of Brad Lander and Zoran in terms of people seeing the optics of a Muslim and a Jew cross endorsing each other as kind of the sign that, hey, maybe groups can come together. Maybe the other group is not so bad, whichever side you're on, that there are really wonderful people that are trying to have a bolder, brighter vision for this country and for this city. And so maybe that's a glimmer of hope, because the discourse has devolved into this campism and you have to pick one side or whatever. And I think both of these candidates are showing that that is not the case. And so who knows, maybe there is hope out there. I have a feeling that because of how Brad Lander may end up being on a lot of people's ballots, both Zoran's people's ballots, but also, and his own ballot, and also anybody but Cuomo ballot, that it could end up being Brad Lander who rises to the top here, and he's certainly competent enough to do this. But I would love to see whoever gets mayor, so let's say if it's one of those guys, for their lieutenant governor to be, lieutenant mayor to be the other one, in a sign of kind of unity. And I think that could help both the Democratic Party, but also help the communities that are impacted by everything that's going on. So I'll leave it there.
Thank you, Scotty. There'll be more to report over the next couple of days. Okay, I'm looking at my list here. Oh my goodness, we are down to Andrea and Rick. Let's go to Rick, and then Andrea can mop up the caboose. Rick, you are up.
Well, I have seen, yesterday I saw a video of a little 5-foot Latina woman at a car wash standing up to about 8 armed ICE agents, screaming at them to get out of the car wash. And they eventually backed off. it was really kind of a David and Goliath thing, because they were really intimidating her, and she just would not back down. And the guy that owned the car wash, had said, "Hey, you can't just come into my business. It's dangerous. You just can't stop my business or ask my workers." It was a pretty impressive display of courage. And the other one is